my name's Jay Wells, and this is Jay's Office Hours, my semi-monthly vlog about writing and the writing life, writing craft, the business of writing, whatever you want to talk about, I will talk about. And today, I get to choose the topic, which is volatile bonds. Look at this. This is the fourth book of my Prospero's War series. You'll see behind me the cover of the first book, Dirty Magic. This is book 4. It just came out 2 weeks ago, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it today just because it's a new thing, and I self-published this book, so it's a whole new experience for me to put it out on my own, and I wanted to talk about how that worked and how it's been received. So there was a 2-year period between the third book of the Prospero's War series, which was called Deadly Spells, coming out in this book. And the reason for that, there are a lot of reasons for that. One of them is I was in grad school. Another is New York sort of decided that urban fantasy wasn't something that they wanted to see a lot of anymore. And I decided to take a break. Sometimes we do that. Sometimes we need that. And it turned out that taking that break was one of the best things I ever did, because when I came back and wrote this book, I was so excited to work on these characters again. I was excited to be putting it out in a new way, and sort of discovering that I am better at the business of self-publishing than I thought I would be. And it also turned out that the fans were super excited to get a new book, which, may not always happen when books are coming out every 3 months or 6 months. So the response to this has been really mind-blowing to me. I went to NOLA, to New Orleans StoryCon last weekend, and at the book signing on Saturday, I had a non-stop line for 3.5 hours of people so excited to see this book. And I think I sold 50 copies of this and ran out of, I think we sold them all. If we didn't, there was maybe 1 or 2 left. And that was in one day. And before the book even came out, because I did pre-orders, I had already earned back every penny that I invested into this book to get it produced, meaning the cover, the 2 rounds of editing, all the production costs I earned back well before the book even was available. So at this point, I am in the black, which is a refreshing feeling. That didn't happen too often with New York. Of course, I was getting big advances from New York. I was getting, I was living off my advances, and so I had to earn those back before I'd earned extra money. So it's a really different kind of accounting than it is with self-publishing. But I'm really happy. People are so excited. We sold a couple thousand copies already, which is pretty on par with how my New York releases went. There may have been a little more velocity at the beginning with my New York books, but this will have a much longer shelf life. So that's really, really exciting for a 4th book of a series that I thought was dead. I thought things were over. I couldn't sell a book. I took another book out and tried to sell it to New York, and they didn't want it because it wasn't a genre that they liked. And I felt like after this great 10-year run in the business that nobody wanted a story from me. So for this book to come out and have that kind of response has been really amazing, and I am so excited that I live in a time where I have options like that, because when I started publishing 10 years ago, it was not an option. I would have had to retire my name, invent some new persona, and write under a completely different genre to get my career going again. And I'm so happy that I don't have to do that, because Jay Wells is my real name, and it would have really sucked to have to never go by my real name again. So that's all really exciting. I know some of you are wondering what it was like to self-publish. I had self-published a few other projects before this one. I did my Meridian 6 series. I did a couple of romances under a pen name. But this was my first sort of big indie release. And the process was in some ways easier than I thought it would be, and in some ways harder. You have to keep in mind there were probably a dozen people at my publisher who handled different aspects of getting the books out. And this time it was basically like up to me overseeing the entire process, even though I hired cover designers, editors, and all of that. I had my fingers in all of it, and it was a lot of work. And there were days where I worked like literally like 12-hour days and never got a word written because I was constantly on email, setting up things, getting promotions set up, emailing people, dealing with a lot of headaches with getting the books uploaded for distribution and things like that. It was a lot of work that I didn't anticipate doing. I didn't love it, but I did love that I could fix them myself. Those problems do happen in traditional publishing. It's just somebody else takes care of them, and they don't always do it the way you want them to do it. And I'm enough of a control freak that I love that I get to fix it the way I want it fixed. So that's wonderful. I learned a lot of lessons. I learned how to work smarter instead of harder. I learned how to tell whether something was worth my time or not, and that's all stuff that I'm still processing. I'm only 2 weeks into this book being out, and I'm still kind of learning what works and what doesn't, and I assume I'll continue to learn as I put more books out. There will be 7 books total in this series, so I have a few more to do here. And moving forward, I've got some other projects that I'm going to put out on my own. And then, we'll see. Some projects may lend itself better to going back to New York and getting the support of a publishing house behind me. Some projects may be better to do on my own. It just really depends, and it's nice to have the flexibility to do that. And I also understand and I think it's important for me to say that I am not an anti-New York author. I would not be who I am in this industry without the support of Orbit and other, my agents, all the salespeople who went out and got me into bookstores, without industry publications who reviewed my books and gave me awards and things like that. I am totally not gonna, oh, my dogs are about to bark. Okay, no. Okay, sorry. I'm totally not anti-New York, and I am so appreciative of all the hard work and support that I've gotten. It's just in order for me to get the books that I want to write to my readers, and those are also the books that my readers want, this was the best option. And that's how I'm approaching all of my business decisions. What's best for my readers and what's best for me. Sometimes that might be going with New York, and sometimes it may not. But that's just how it is. And man, again, repeating, so lucky to be here in this time period where I have those options. And I should also point out that a lot of the success that I'm having in indie is because I'm a known author. Bookstores are carrying my book because they know that I can write a good book, and they wouldn't know that if I hadn't been with New York first. So I'm able to leverage a lot of existing relationships that I have with booksellers and with reviewers and editors who normally may not work with an indie author. I'm able to hire them. And so I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, you should totally go indie because you'll have the same experience I had. You probably won't. Everybody's experience is different. I've talked to a ton of indie authors since I've started doing this, and literally everybody does things differently. A lot of people said don't do pre-orders, and I did them, and it worked out really well for me. So it just, you kind of have to learn as you go what works for you and what works with your goals and how you want to approach it. But anyway, I am so excited. I'm already hard at work on book 5, which doesn't have a title yet. I thought it did, and then I realized that I sort of tried to use a title that another author that I know used, so that won't work. So I'm just having fun and writing my books, and I've got lots more exciting things coming in the next few months. I can think of 4 or 5 projects between now and spring that you're going to be seeing from me. Some of them are Prospero, some of them are other genres, and I hope you're excited about all of that. And I hope that whatever you're reading, it's good, and I hope whatever you're writing, it's good. I hope everything's good. Leave questions for me in comments. I'm happy to talk about the business side of things, but as always, my focus is on the craft. Without the craft, there's no point in talking about the business. So, have a great day. Check out my website, jaywells.com, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.